nice to have people there.
I'd like to have a hard copy of the, Did you just come home with me too? I didn't know there too. Keep up with all my, I can't keep up with myself. I ruined it or something. What the heck is that? I don't understand, or whatever. Understand those pins? Thank you, yes, I'd like to have a hard copy of the agenda. I like hard copies. Me too. You can have it. Does it for a pen? Oh, okay. Oh, my, oh, shoot. My chair keeps getting lower. How does it keep getting lower? What is the deal? Somebody's messing with my chair.
Oh, right on time. I don't have to sit then, right?
Yeah.
Is that on? Yeah. There. It's 6 o'clock. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll remind everybody to turn your microphones on and turn your cell phones off. It's great to have everybody here, and we'll have roll call.
Mayor Schoenberger.
Here.
Counselor Anderson.
Here.
Counselor Bain.
Here.
Counselor Baker.
Here.
Counselor Becker.
Here.
Counselor Dykes.
Here.
Counselor Quinlan.
Here.
Everyone has a copy of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 22nd. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, they stand approved as submitted. Visitors and delegations, is there anybody that's not on the agenda that wants to speak? If so, now's the time, so. Moving on. Management, number A, second and final reading of ordinance number 848-16. And that's,
Okay, this ordinance number 848-16, this is an ordinance adopting an amendment to Chapter 16 of the Brush Municipal Code concerning medical clinics. And this is a discussion that took place last few meetings. The council directed us to put this to post this, and so this is the second reading of that, and we're here to move that process along this evening.
all right. Is there a motion for this amendment?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 848-16, an ordinance adopting an amendment to Chapter 16 of the Brush Municipal Code concerning medical clinics.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Any further discussion?
I have just a couple of things I wanted to ask about it. My understanding of this ordinance is to kind of encourage future use away from residential areas for clinics, but it doesn't impact any existing clinics that would be in that area now. Is that correct?
They would be grandfathered.
They would be grandfathered. Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything in that nature, because this is a medical clinic that would be allowed with a special use permit.
Oh, it's all
to-
with, okay.
Yeah,
So
to
like,
go.
I was wondering about your practice, the dental isn't a residential, that, because it's not under special use permission.
That's commercial core.
That is commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, that area is
That
commercial core.
half a block
Okay.
or whatever is commercial core. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Okay,
this is allowing them to go into the industrial zone,
yeah,
and so it still
Right.
requires a special use permit. And it's very similar in a sense, the process, as with the temporary workforce
Yeah.
housing that we did a while back.
yeah.
This is just happens to be more focused on medical clinic.
Yeah, reading through it, it looked like, though, that we were trying to clean up the language for areas where we're gonna have this in. The other question is, in the industrial zone where you have a medical clinic, it did stipulate that there wouldn't be like it isn't an overnight stay facility. Is that correct?
I believe that's the correct statement. Karen's not here, and she ran through it, but I'm pretty sure that's
Oh,
the
okay.
situation.
That's in the definition of the,
It wasn't,
Of the
the
medical
definition
clinic,
of what a
right.
medical
Yeah.
clinic is not a
Correct.
hospital, it's a clinic, so no overnight, okay.
Yep.
That's all I had.
Anything else? Roll call vote.
Mayor Schomburger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
No.
Counselor Bain,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan.
Yes.
That carried.
Number B, public hearing, special use permit for 320 Colorado Avenue.
Okay, and this is a project that Karen's been working on, and
Let me open the public hearing first, so I'll
Okay.
open the public hearing. Okay.
Okay, now, this is a project that Karen's been working on with Mr. Samples, and she's not able to be here this evening, so I'm gonna kind of run through her report. And then, I believe at that point in time, then the applicant can speak, and we'll go from there. Essentially, what this is a property that is located at 320 Colorado Avenue. And we're requesting it to be a special use permit for a single-family dwelling, and it is a family dwelling already. It's just that years ago it started being used for a photography shop, and so now it's just really reverting back to becoming a single-family residential home with a photography business in the back. And so the normal process of this, if it was a larger project, we go through a lot of different components of our comprehensive plan and things like that. But this is a very simple request, and it's really it's existing residential family home. The staff, we didn't have any issues with it, and so the staff was recommending that we move forward and change it back so it's allowed for a single family residential home again. And that's more importantly now more than ever with the shortage of rental properties and places to live in town. And so the staff supported this, and we'll hear from the applicant, but it's nothing really all that new.
Monty, in the recommendations paragraph, it talks about, Karen talks about staff recommends council grant a special use permit for a single-family dwelling with off-street parking. I think that should read on-street parking, because
Yeah.
Mr. Samples doesn't have any off-street parking according to his
Right.
submission.
Right. So, Bo, you're saying just strike out that one and go on street
Should
parking?
Strike off and substitute on, yes.
Okay. So that'd be the only
Yep, so that
correction
would be
from
a
staff.
correction. Yeah, right. Dave, applicant, do you have any?
Yeah, he's pretty much stated it. Like I said, originally that was where we lived, and then we expanded and built the studio, and now we're kind of going back and downsizing a little bit, but we're still operating the studio out of the back, and just want to make it a residence back in the front. And obviously, we have lots of empty streets between us and Central.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, the parking's not gonna be a problem.
No. All right,
Any other
thanks.
questions you have for me?
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, I will close the public hearing. Is there a motion for this application with the amendment?
I'll make a motion that we approve it with, for a special use permit for 320 Colorado Avenue.
Second.
With
With-
changing the
With the
parking?
right.
All right, second. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Bain,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes, Yes. Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger.
Yes. Moving on to number C, grant application for recreation master planning.
Yes, in a recent council retreat, the council put a recreation master plan as one of the top 5 priorities for 2017. We do have a grant opportunity coming up through Great Outdoors Colorado in November. One of the requirements, however, is to have a secure match. We feel like the study itself will be $50,000, and they require a 25% match for that, so we're looking at 15,000. I'm requesting that tonight, 15,000 for the match to go ahead and conduct the master plan. However, I will also be talking to the foundation to see if they will match half of that for 7,500. But with this master plan, it'll allow us to be a little bit more competitive with our grant writings for our future projects. One of the questions they ask in many of the grants that I've written in the past is, how does this reflect out of your master plan and everything like that? And right now, we just don't have one. We try to quote out of our comprehensive plan, but that's pretty vague, overall when it comes to parks and recreation. So, this will evaluate all of our current facilities, our current programs, see where we're lacking, and also see where we can start maybe making a long-term plan on how we do make improvements and everything else, because with budgets getting tighter and tighter, there's some major renovations down the road, with ball field, and swimming pool, and golf course, and so it'd be kind of nice to get kind of an all-around plan together so that we can start attacking it, down in future years. So, I'm asking, again, part of the reason I'm here tonight is that the budget doesn't get approved until December, and the grant application is due in November. So, I need to be able to submit to Great Outdoors Colorado that we do have the money secured for this grant. So, if there's any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve this grant?
I'll make a motion that we approve the grant application for the recreation master plan with COJO.
Second.
Wait, I think we need to include in that motion the authority to spend $15,000 as our matching share.
Okay, to include the 15,000 for our matching share.
And like I said, I will be requesting half that.
And the seconds on that, any discussion? And roll call vote.
Counselor Bain?
Yes.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Counselor Becker?
Yes.
Counselor Dykes?
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger?
Yes.
Counselor Anderson?
Yes.
Moving on to number D, intergovernmental, whatever that word is, intergovernmental agreements.
IGA.
Yeah.
That's it.
On the Brush Fire Station and lease purchase agreements between the City of Brush and Brush Rural Fire Protection District.
Okay, this IGA is one that's, we've been working on probably for the last couple of months, and we're pretty excited because it took a series of meetings with the rural fire department, their board members, to get this IGA rolling. And since the last time I spoke to council about it, there's been a few iterations of the IGA that's been put together, and the attorney of the fire board has been working with our city attorney, and we finally got this document to where we're about 99.99% ready to go with it. And so I was gonna ask for our city attorney to kind of highlight a few components of it, just to refresh everybody's memories, and approve this for us to move forward with getting it signed and over to the rural fire district.
Okay, I submitted what I thought were the final draft of the intergovernmental joint use agreement for the fire station to Andrea last week with a copy to Dennis Brandenburg. And about an hour later, he got back to me with a version that had some changes in it. And I think that was included in the agenda packet, correct? Mm-hmm. The changes that he suggested are generally acceptable, but they're going to require the rewrite of a couple of paragraphs so that they parse better than the way they're written now. The intergovernmental joint use agreement for the fire station is going to be a lasting agreement that memorializes the joint use that's been going on in that building for many, many years. As a part of this joint use agreement, there's a provision that the fire district will be purchasing an interest in that property, which we're calling a vested right for joint use and occupancy. Title to the property will remain with the city. The district will have that joint use of the building. The district will be sharing the cost of the renovation of that building with the city, and we've used some estimated numbers in this agreement to illustrate how that sharing would occur. We have a estimated overall cost of approximately $1.2 million to demolish the area of the station that consists of the truck bays, rebuild it with 2 additional bays, and to renovate it and remodel the administrative part of the building. we are submitting an application whenever DOLA reopens its energy impact grant funding for a grant for half of that cost, $600,000. That would leave an additional $600,000 for each of the two entities to pay, $300,000 each. The city is going to be funding its own cost, as I understand this, correct me if I'm wrong, Joanne, out of existing funds. The city has agreed to assist the fire protection district in its payment of the $300,000 share by entering into a lease purchase agreement with the fire protection district related to its payment of the $300,000 for purchase of that vested right. A lease purchase agreement is a form of financing that's been exempted from the debt limitations for many, many years, and it's also one that's expressly exempt from the Tabor limitations on taking on debt without a vote of the people. There's referenced in this joint use agreement a draft of that lease purchase agreement. That lease purchase agreement can't be completed until we're at the point where we have finished the bid process and we know the costs, we know how those costs are going to be allocated between the two districts, the two entities, I should say, and we know the success or partial success or denial of our grant application to DOLA for the $600,000. So the one document we're looking at adopting presently is the joint use agreement. The lease purchase agreement will be a part of that joint use agreement, but it's not going to be adopted until we're at that final stage. One of the provisions in the joint use agreement is that the fire protection district will make a down payment on their share of the cost of $100,000. My understanding is through discussion with Joanne that the funding for the cities providing these monies to paying the expense of the project initially will be borrowed money under a lease purchase agreement with a local bank. And so the interest rate to be inserted into the lease purchase agreement with the fire protection district will be the same number. If the city's cost is 2.5%, the fire protection district will pay the 2.5% identically, so that there is a balance between the two expenses. The term that the fire protection district will use to repay this hasn't been determined. That will be shown in the Exhibit A that goes on to the lease purchase agreement that shows the payoff, and at the end of each year will also show the balance due, which could be a purchase option price that the district pays to buy out the agreement. At the end of this entire process, the city will convey that vested interest to the fire protection district by form of a bargain and sale deed. That's a deed without warranty, but it's a higher level deed than a quitclaim deed, but it's a lower level deed than a form of warranty deed. Doesn't have a warranty of title in it. I'm comfortable with suggesting to the council that the joint use agreement be approved tonight in the form that it is shown in this draft copy with the corrections that came from the fire protection district, with the condition that we can make some minor wordsmithing changes to it to make the paragraphs parse correctly and state the intent that they are intended to cover. Any questions?
Say that again.
Vote for it.
You have to know how to make that motion, though.
As
Okay,
outlined.
I'll
Yeah.
guide you.
Comfortable
Yeah.
with approving the joint use agreement,
Right?
not the lease purchase at this
No,
time, because we
'cause-
don't know the numbers, with the condition that you just stated.
Yes, that we are able to make some
Wordsmithing changes.
minor word changes to it to
Okay.
make the paragraphs complete and parse to state their proper intent.
And I'll let you repeat all that again, Rick. Is there a motion to that
Yeah,
effect? Okay.
yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the joint use agreement with some minor wordsmithing changes.
Does that cover it?
That covers it.
All right. Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
I had just a couple of questions. I think you covered most of the things. One of the things I wondered with this proposal, with the lease purchase agreement, it left the amount that the district would pay annually blank, and I understand that because we don't know the final cost right now. But one of the questions I had, it looked like the lease purchase agreement would go yearly, and each side could opt out of that at any time, and it would go for a period of 10 years.
Not necessarily 10 years.
Okay, that can
That
be
term
flexible.
hasn't been determined yet.
Okay.
Yes, a lease purchase agreement is exempted from the debt limitations of the state constitution and the debt limitations of the Tabor Amendment because it's an annual agreement. And the Fire Protection District would have to appropriate the monies each year in its budget to cover the lease payment under that agreement. They could decide at any time not to do that appropriations process in its budget for the next year and end the agreement.
Right.
And if they do that, they would forfeit the equity that they have put into purchasing that
Okay.
vested right, and they would lose that vested right and would be, in crude terminology, out on the street.
So they would have a budget appropriation for that money each year.
Correct.
And if the city didn't see that appropriation made, we could terminate the lease agreement. too,
Correct.
right? Okay.
Right. And because it's a year-to-year agreement, it doesn't violate the more than one fiscal year provision of Tabor, and it doesn't violate the debt limitations that has existed in the state constitution well before Tabor.
And we would not enter the lease purchase agreement until the project is substantially completed.
No, we would start the lease purchase agreement when we knew the costs. And then the payments would start when substantial completion
Right, they
is made.
So until that time, they'll continue to pay the same annual
The same little.
$61.50 a year.
$61.50
Okay.
rent,
And
yes.
that doesn't have anything to do with the vested right until such time as we sign the other agreement.
Right.
It's just rent they're paying to the city like they have.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Joanne, have you
Okay.
got?
Just one added comment to that. The city will also be doing that lease purchase agreement through a bank. So it's basically a pass-through, but we'll have to do an annual appropriation in our budget as
Right.
well.
Okay.
Okay. And then they are going to be, this agreement does provide for them to start paying 50% of operations and maintenance as well, along with that $6,100 that they
Yeah, I thought
pay.
that was a good, the city is basically putting the entire cost up, what we hope will be $600,000, to allow them to have more time to pay this money back.
Different figures she's talking about when she talks about operations and maintenance.
Oh, I understand, yeah.
Public service company utilities, day-to-day operating expenses like, I don't know, the toilet paper, okay, and other consumable expenses over there.
Okay.
Plus half the insurance.
It's a really good partnership.
Yeah,
between
yeah,
both
I'm
entities.
excited about it. I think it'll be jointly moving forward, gives us the best chance to obtain grants, so that's great.
And again, we're using the 1.2 million estimate, and we only had one estimate, is that correct?
We'll get more bids.
And you know, if the project were to come in, I don't know, make up a number, 1.5 million, maybe there's a need to do some adjustments to the extension, to the extent of the construction project to get closer to that 1.2. Maybe we don't hit it exactly, but we may need to come down to get closer to that than the hypothetical number 1.5 that I just stated.
Okay. Is that it? Roll call vote.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Bain.
Yes.
Moving on to number E, property and casualty and workers' compensation insurance.
Yes.
For you this evening, you have a memo from me concerning our property casualty and workers' compensation quotes for 2017. These papers are due back to SRSA by September the 30th, so we've brought it to you this evening without a work session. Pretty straightforward. There's nothing really any different than prior years. The positive on this is that our property casualty did go down in cost by $5,099. So we'll see a decrease in our premium on that. And then our workers' compensation actually decreased $1,337 from prior to last year. And once again, the city will not be utilizing our 2016 loss control audit. Since it did go down, we're electing to leave that in the pot and keep it for a year that it may go up, that we want to use it at that time. So at this time, barring any other questions, we're asking that council approve continuing with our property casualty and workers' comp through SRSA.
Okay. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve that we continue with property and casualty with SRSA
And workers' comp.
and workers' comp.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes.
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Bain,
Yes.
Counselor Becker.
Yes.
Didn't you already say yes?
Did I say Baker?
voted
Vote
twice.
twice.
That's at least wondered.
He's taking my vote.
Becker,
okay?
Baker,
Baker.
Oh, Baker.
Baker.
Okay.
Sorry. I do that at least one at a time.
Finance.
I make a motion, we approve disbursements and payroll from August 22nd through September 12th, 2016, totaling $491,997.27.
Second?
Motion and second. Discussion? Another roll call vote.
Okay. Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Bain,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger.
Yes. Staff reports. First is finance. Joanne.
I have a couple items this evening. I just wanted to make council aware that the city's assessed value for our property tax for 2017 did go down. And so for 2017, we will be seeing a $23,000 decrease in our revenues on property taxes. You might have noticed in your packets this evening that our financial status report was not in there. I will have that in your second council meeting of the month's packet, so it is coming. Then also the other thing I had was just to remind everybody that the department heads will be presenting their light item request on September 26th meeting.
Thank you. Moving down to police. And Travis.
Just a couple of things. Just to advise you, we're going to be participating in the Senior Olympics hosted by Ebenezer on September 30th. We've got the animal shelter up. It now has washer and dryer. Our animal control officer had been using her own to clean the animal shelter stuff, so we got that up and running. We hosted some ethics training, had Morgan County, Fort Morgan, DOC, Wiggins. We all participated in the ethics training. It went really well. So, and then lastly, met with Cher and Sarah. Just kind of wanted to give you a brief overview of what they do. Sarah does our interviews with children. It's all in-house. They have forensic interviewers for children of assault or sexual abuse. And Cher does more of the domestic violence, and they're a resource for those that are in need of domestic violence assistance, changing locks or whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Parks and Recreation. Lance.
Just a couple things. Some of the programs we got going on right now is youth soccer. This is, for whatever reason, this year, I don't know if it was the Olympics or what, this is our largest year ever in soccer. We have over 200 kids out. We had to put out an extra 3 fields over at the high school to accommodate all the kids that are participating this year. So it's been a great turnout. So Kyle's been busy trying to get all those kids on jobs running around and everything like that. So really good that we got that participation. And the other thing is we are wrapped up our men's and women's golf
Did you put up the backboard at the tennis court?
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Well, I didn't do it,
Somebody did.
but.
You all. That's you plural.
Ordered it.
Your department.
Thank you. And thanks for all the work you do out there at the golf course too. It's been a Herculean effort for you, so thanks.
Getting there.
Yeah, all right. City Clerk.
To highlight some of the activities in our City and Towns Week, tonight we have volunteers from some of our boards and commission at the council meeting that will be recognized. Tuesday, we have Councilor Rick Bain, Vicki Quinlan, and Mayor Chuck Schomburger, and some of the staff members will be visiting some of the schools and presenting government issues to them. Wednesday evening from 4 to 7 at the People's Market, Councilor Baker, Bain, and Dykes will be there to answer any questions. And then moving into October, I'll need RSVPs from council on the CML Fall District Meeting in Ray and the Eastmoreland County Hospital Foundation. That's it.
Thank you. City Administrator.
No reports tonight, just one item on the work session.
All right. Is there any council reports?
I had a call from Cher. I believe it was last week. And so I'm gonna bring it up at council. She wanted to let me know about the, as they see it, problem with dual arrests. So I'm gonna pass that along to you to deal with.
You want me to comment or just?
I don't care, if you'd like to, you can.
I heard a little bit of.
But can you, what is a dual arrest, so I
Yeah.
understand that?
Okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to comment a little bit. A dual arrest is under the statute for domestic violence. What we try to do is identify the primary aggressor. And a lot of times, well, I shouldn't say a lot of times, occasionally we cannot identify who the primary aggressor is. And it could be both of them. So under the law, we're mandated to arrest under any domestic violence. So a dual arrest would be, we would arrest them both and let it go through the court process. Does it happen? Yeah. Does it happen frequently? Not frequently, because officers do a really good job of trying to identify through evidence, through witnesses, even the children, and statements as to who the primary aggressor was. But again, sometimes we can't always determine that, and so we have to take them both to jail.
And you cannot skip it and do nothing. You have to pick one or both.
Yeah, if we skip it, then we're in trouble, yeah.
All right.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Now the moment we've all been waiting for out there. Thank you all for being here. This is the City and Towns Week, and as Andrea said, we've got several things going on, and tonight we want to recognize members of our boards and commissions because you people put a lot of work in, and it's wonderful to have you, and really the city couldn't function without you doing all that. So I'm going to move down around front and hand out little prizes, and Andrea will call you and spell things out.
The gifts that he's giving to each of you were donated from the Colorado Municipal League, and they're a little cell phone holder, just so you know. 'Cause okay, from our Aviation Advisory Board and the staff member Karen Schmink, we have Marvin Baker, Stan Gray, Tim Oakley, John Sweeney, Carrie Kimball, and Mayor Chuck Schomburger is the council liaison. So you have to come up, Tim. Okay, he's on more. Board of Adjustments, our city staff member is Karen Schmink. We have Larry Anderson as the chair, Ed Lose, Harry Rieger, Paula Patty, and Jeff Osich. Golf Advisory, Lance Schwint is the staff member, and Bill Holland, Tom Keller, Bob Gunnan, Dave Cross, and Sean Stutzman as the golf manager. Historic Preservation Board, Karen Schmink as the staff member, Helena Schultz, Miriam Buckmaster, Kendra Sheets, Mark Tormolin. Planning and Zoning Commission, Karen Schmink as the staff member, Monty Torres, Chuck Schomburger, Richard Beeren, Tim Oakley, Steve Treadway, Janine Anderson, and Rick Bain as council members. I'll, just at the end, probably, I guess. That might be easier. And tree board, Karen Schmink, and Ron Bauer, Bruce Bosley, Donna Phillips, Sharon Bizdek, Felix Acosta, and water advisory board, Monty Torres is the staff member, Larry Coughlin, Greg Mullen, Dan Scalisi, Steve Treadway, and Marcy Wickham. And those are our boards and commission members. Thank you very much. Yay.
Thank you for being here too now, one at a time, or all as a group.
Perhaps I'll ask if y'all stick up and I'll get a picture. That might be easier.
You're always on call.
What is,
Yeah.
what is that?
Do you have your cell phone with you?
What's a cell phone?
I know.
You probably have the big old brick thing, huh? It's like my
Yeah.
phone won't fit in that.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no.
have that
Is that or this little hammer thing? It's like,
Yeah.
I think this at least they can use for something.
Put your cell phone right there, it pulls it up.
big in your office, Rick.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work in your office.
Yeah. That's true. How you doing, Jeff? Good to see you.
Old school is what is anything? Well, you better make fun of
You could hold your keys.
There you go.
No, I know.
You can just set it on your desk and you're guaranteed to get a smile every
Yeah,
morning.
that's right.
There you go.
That is a rough crowd.
They look like they're
All right,
little
guys,
rubber
if I could
duckies.
get maybe. Okay, you come over here real quick, please. I might make it move. I just need to squeeze you in a little bit tighter is all, fellas, that's all. Let's see. Just a little bit closer, and I think I got you guys. Let's see here.
Get me
I'm
out
trying
the
to
way.
bail.
Yeah, close it.
I think it's looking good. We'll do this real quick. I'll count
Why are
to
you
3 for
hiding?
you, Ben, and I'll take a couple. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you, Austin.
All right.
And we have some refreshments, cookies and things like that, so stick around for a minute and we can talk more. We also have a really quick work session that's gonna be very, very brief, so stick around for that too. We'll go through that quick. But is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? We are adjourned. All right.
Okay, for council and work session, I only have one item, and that's
Here.